Gotcha.
That's what I call now.
Too loud. That's what I call too
That
loud.
is way too loud. Wow, it's just getting louder.
Yikes. That's what was doing it. Okay. We found it. Don't worry about it, guys.
Hey, now
Well-
that's what I call now. Slash between the songs. You're on. We're on. It's 91.7 The Edge, WSUW, Whitewater, Wisconsin.
How you guys doing? Huh?
Pretty good.
You doing?
We got a fun show coming
we
up.
got a
We're
show.
just giving it a little tease right now. And we'll be back after some music.
Never tease your audience.
But we're doing the Kanye episode. We're talking about Kanye. And it's going to be fun. And then after that, we're going to do a little segment on just how sports and music interact, because we have a very interesting special guest today. UW Whitewater celebrity, basically.
Oh,
if
stop
we're
it.
honest.
Stop
Connor
it.
Moore, sports director at the radio station, co-sports director at the TV station.
Co-sports director, correct.
And at one point, probably sports position at the Royal Purple.
Oh, no, I was actually just a copy editor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was just I wrote sports stories for them like a couple years ago, but my last actual position was copy editor. So.
Okay. Still though, he's got his hands and legs in all media.
Why's he got his legs in
forms.
him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because he's just in so much. He needs, he's only got
Now,
two arms. He
when
needs
you're-
the foot.
Yeah, but when you're on TV, it's only like from the waist up, right?
Essentially.
Yeah, and then when he's on air over here, it's just his mouth.
I mean, depends on. I mean, if it's Hawk Talk, then it's still
Still waist up.
the waist up,
And
unless I
also-
decide to like fall out of my chair for whatever reason.
Oh, true,
so.
true. Okay.
One thing we'll touch on before we go to break and before we start the thing, the full thing. What's the deal with this Hawk Talk intro thing?
Okay, so yeah, I was wondering how long it was gonna take for somebody to actually ask me that. So
What? What is this music?
Okay, that's it. That's all. I just have
Okay.
it.
I wish I had headphones so I can hear this. I mean, does it have a quarter inch on it?
No, we'd have to find that.
We can find one, maybe.
But
we'll see what
so
happens.
basically, to explain this thing that's becoming a thing that already was a thing, actually, the worst kept secret on planet Earth right now is that I still watch the WWE. It's something that I kept very hidden since I came to college, and then for whatever reason, last year I started to like progressively like leak it out a little bit more. Not intentionally, it just kind of happened. And then out of nowhere, I was like, you know what? Like now I talk to a bunch of people who watch and we openly talk about it in person, so I feel comfortable about it. And I mean, I'm judged enough for other things, worse things. I mean, if that's the worst thing people could judge me is watching wrestling, whatever. And so there's a stable, a tag team group, a trio called The New Day, consisting of Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. And the intro, before they hit the stage and their actual music hits, Big E behind stage, he like screams at him, "Aww!" And then he says whatever city they're in, and then he actually goes, "Don't you dare be sour. Clap for your world famous 4-time champs and feel the power." And then the music hits and it's like, "It's a new day." Yes, it is. And then the whole music hits and everything.
Okay.
And so I started doing it here because a couple weeks ago now, about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, we, on a Wednesday edition of Hawk Talk, we decided to spend the entire day talking WrestleMania because it just made sense.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we had ever done it, at least since I've been here, and we just spent the entire show just talking WrestleMania. Because there was something and even though half of us watched it a lot, a couple of people didn't. One of which, Anne Marie, my assistant sports director, is now starting to get into it because Ronda Rousey is now a full-time WWE superstar. And so I decided, I was like, hey, you guys, you know what? I'm gonna do the New Day thing before the show. So that's when it started.
Okay.
And then I jokingly did it the week after, the next Wednesday. And then I was like, guys, should I just do it in the beginning of every show? They're like, yeah, sure. So I did it. So I've done it for every show, almost every show since the WrestleMania episode. I've done it for all but 3 shows. The one show I just didn't do it just because I just didn't do it.
Yeah,
and
you
the
gotta
other
feel
2,
it.
my voice was shot because I was
What we'll
just getting
do?
off being sick.
What we'll do is, because I know you have a recording of it somewhere.
Some
I know it's
I have
You've got it on Instagram.
I have the video on the station website.
Yeah, we'll find
from
some way
Edgefest.
for us to get that, and then we can just put it into post so they know what we're talking about.
That is fine. Like I'll have there should be something.
And
honestly.
yeah, it's great. So yeah, that's cool. I didn't know it was a WWE thing, but honestly, it makes so much sense.
Yeah,
now.
it's a WWE thing, and now I've done it here. I did it on an intercom for Edge Fest, in which like some of my friends who are like RAs, they text me like half of our residents thought that was the greatest announcement they ever heard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a thing. It's
become a Connor Moore meme.
Right.
It's great.
I'm kind of I've become a meme for a lot of things this school year alone. But I'm starting to I'm using that thing, and I'm just gonna write it out. It's a lot of fun. So I'm not gonna use it on TV. I think it's just on TV through radio. I think it's just gonna be a here entity.
I think it probably works best. In this
So
context.
it gets the job done. A lot of people love it. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So shout out to the New Day. All rights reserved to them. I'm just using a little imitation for it, but it'll be. I'm probably gonna tweet them out the video that I did from Edge Fest.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get to some music. It's 91.7 The Edge, by the way. If you're just joining us now and you missed all this, we got a lot more talk coming. But before that, we're gonna play some music. I'm gonna play this great long-forgotten Disclosure collaboration between Disclosure, Sam Smith, Nile Rodgers, and Jimmy Napes called Together, and this song just sounds exactly how this nice weather is making me feel right now.
I'm excited then.
Okay.
Now I'm excited.
Okay. It's Nile Rodgers is on, so you've got that like really crisp, groovy guitar that's just perfect.
Yeah.
And Sam Smith's voice
What more can you say about Sam
yeah.
Smith? Honestly?
At the chorus, he just has this amazing harmonization that he does. And so we'll do that, and then after that, we're just gonna play some hip hop bangers. I don't know, some random stuff that I got. We'll see what happens.
Well, you got to play new Kanye because we're talking about Kanye.
I probably will throw some new Kanye.
You have
in
to
there.
play at least.
Which one do I play? The meme song, or do I play the one when
You got to play
Kanye
Lift Yourself.
and T.I. are yelling?
You got to play Lift Yourself.
Okay.
You got to play it.
Poopity scoop.
Have you heard it?
I have.
Scoopity
Good.
whoopity
I heard it for the
scoop.
first time yesterday, and
You got upset. Right?
It's a meme.
I was
It's a troll.
something. I was something.
Yeah,
can't-
let's get into the music. It's 91.7 The Edge. This is
do it.
Between the Songs / now that's what I call now. And
don't have it
we'll
ready.
see you in a few minutes. Is everything good on your end, Max?
You said, no, that's what I call now, and I just.
Okay, there it is.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay, cool. It's 91.7 The Edge. We'll see you after this. Wow.
The man, the meme.
Northwest with those bars,
legend.
though. Am I right?
True.
Oh my goodness.
We're back. It's 91.7 The Edge, and it's time to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Kanye West. And the whole avalanche of media and controversy that's happened since Kanye West logged back onto Twitter. Why with the sound effects?
Why not with the
I'm
sound
just
effects?
getting
is the
my
better
notes
question.
out here so we can start. But what I want to start off with is just what does Kanye mean to all of us? What does Kanye mean to you? I'll start. For me, Kanye, my hot take is that he's the most relevant and influential pop culture figure since Kurt Cobain. In that Kurt Cobain made it cool for a lot of people to be punk in the mainstream, and like Nirvana completely changed the culture that was happening before. Before Nirvana, it was all 80s hair metal. The whole punk thing was pretty underground. Nirvana completely changed. I mean, like, you don't have the 90s without Nirvana and Kurt Cobain. And for me, Kanye West is the closest thing to that's happened since. I think Jay-Z and Beyonce are also in that discussion. And you could argue between the three of them, which would hold that spot, because Jay-Z was massive in establishing, I think, what the modern hip-hop pathway is for artists, what the modern hip-hop artist is, especially from a business sense. And then Beyonce is just Beyonce, like, yeah. But I think Kanye, there's something about him that I think sticks out more, and especially in what he's done for hip-hop artists to just be themselves and to be on their own wave and try new things. For me, like, 808s and Heartbreaks is like, that's his legacy of that album. I don't know what Max, Connor. What's Kanye West to you?
Impressive. He's very impressive. I think what he's done is insane. The fact that he can get into his studio, record something where the lyrics are scoop de poop whoop, and people aren't like immediately getting rid of that and just throwing it out and being upset about it. The fact that he can get somewhere in his career where that's acceptable and people are like, he's gonna make that a thing, and that's gonna be a thing that's okay. The fact that he can do that says a lot about where he's gotten throughout his career. Because if anyone else released that, anyone smaller, people would be like, "What are you doing? This is trash. Please throw it where it belongs, in the trash."
Yeah, and I think a cool thing with Kanye too is that he's 40 years old now.
Yeah,
and he's
that was also a take that came to you from Sarah, because she actually, my girlfriend, she brought that up to me. Like, it's impressive. Like,
Yeah.
I immediately was like, "What do you think of this meme?" And she was like, "It's actually kind of crazy that it's something that has happened that he can do."
Like he can just get away with it. But Kanye's been able to get away with it to
He
be
put air quotes
himself
on that
out
in
in
case
the public.
you didn't see it.
Since what, 2004? When did the College Dropout come out?
College Dropout, I think, came out around
2003.
Yeah, the 2003, I think.
Like, Kanye's been relevant culturally for like 15 years straight, and it's never really dipped off. Like, that's impressive. I don't know what's your Kanye? What's your opinion of
What's
Kanye?
your
What's your
Kanye?
history with Kanye?
Yeah,
Connor?
for me, my history with Kanye, I think he's, for our generation, he's without a shadow of a doubt one of the most influential, not just rappers, not just artists, but he's without a shadow of a doubt in my mind one of the most influential figures, to have had prevalence rather in our generation, with everything that happened. If we look at the music game alone, he just seems something. He always seems to just transcend the game. For me personally, if we're talking about what Kanye means for me personally, I remember my dad was the one that got me into Kanye, with the College Dropout album, Jesus Walks. That was the very first Kanye West album I ever heard. And then I heard Through the Wire, which is I think one of probably at the time peak Kanye. Obviously now the debate is what is peak Kanye, because it seems to be like a different era of Kanye.
There's so many eras of
right.
Kanye.
So for me, Jesus Walk, College Dropout, the Late Registration album, that the song on there that immediately pops into my mind is Heard Him Say, the collaboration with him and Adam Levine, which MTV rode for a while. It was one of my favorite things, and I think that was around the time too when young me, I was also getting into like all different kinds of music. Growing up in Chicago, the north side of Chicago. And, I was just now getting in, at that point, I was just getting into like other genres. I was just getting into Green Day. I was just getting into Maroon 5, So when I heard that collaboration, I was like, oh, wow, my worlds are colliding,
Yeah.
The Graduation album, one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, this is when I jumped on the Kanye
Right.
train.
Right. The Graduation album was the one where I was just like, this is my guy. Or if he's not my guy, he is one of my guys. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I have gone on record so many times, even on Hawk Talk, the sports show that I host on 91.7 here. We did a Kanye bracket, and I every song on there that was from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I had a hard time eliminating. That for me, if I had to put together probably my top 5 all-time favorite rap albums, I almost by default have to put that one on there. 808s, it was an experimental album, but it worked.
Yeah.
Yeezus, I remember I wasn't a massive fan of it, but it still had songs where even now I'm just like, okay, I get the hang of it. The Life of Pablo. Again, another one of those things where I liked it better than I did Yeezus. I was just more slow. I was slow to warm up to Life of Pablo. But I think everyone gets so caught up in Kanye and the antics. Kanye the lashing out at the media. Kanye the interrupting Taylor Swift at the VMAs. Kanye.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Kanye doesn't. George Bush doesn't care about black people. Kanye West, the Kardashians. I mean, if I said that before, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it again because it just seems like that's just a thing.
And now most recently, Kanye Make America Great Again.
Yeah, Donald Trump, right? Yeah, so, I mean, name one artist or name one person, in the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, who has somehow found a way in some form of fashion and within almost every single one of those years throughout a certain period of time that had some form of impact where it had people just their jaws dropped for one way or the other. For one way or the other, whether it was a good reaction, whether it was a bad reaction, whether it was just like, what are you doing? There's no other figure, I think, in music and in and if not just in real life, and just outside of music, he's one of the most influential, enigmatic personalities out there. You mean to tell me there's not one person out there who would see something about Kanye West and ignore it? No, even the person who hates Kanye West is going to be like, well, what's Kanye doing?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was.
There's very few people out there that have that capability to be like, I hate this man or I hate this girl, but what are they doing? So, and it kind of goes back to the song. I heard the song yesterday and I was just like, what the, and I went on a tirade about the song, but I've seen very little things about the song being thrown away. Very few. The only thing I saw that people were just like, let's cut the crap. The song is trash. Was Consequence of Sound and Vice. That was it. And both of which are like journalism words. They just do exactly that. They just cut the crap right away. No one's thrown away that song.
Yeah.
Which is kind of incredible because it's literally a song. The song is literally a meme.
It is a meme, yeah.
And everyone's just like, there's not one person who's like, well, the next Kanye album's going to be a letdown. No, everyone still has that circled on their calendar.
I'm more excited now.
Exactly.
It's what is he going to do?
Exactly. If J. Cole did this, everyone's just like, well, what are you doing? I mean, J. Cole fans are a whole different species.
We don't even need to open
right. And I am a J. Cole fan. I'm just like, we're a whole different species. If Lil Uzi or someone did this, everyone's chalking it up to mumble rap. They're like, oh, this is mumble rap. We knew it. If Jay-Z did it, everyone maybe he would have the same thing as Kanye here. But there are, like I said, there's very few artists that could get away with something like this, and Kanye, I think, might be one of, if not the only one, who could.
Yeah. What's so cool about Kanye too is that, and you were touching on that, is that he's not just an artist, or he's not just a musician, and I think he's he talks about it a lot. He hates to be confined. He hates when pieces just refer to him as a rapper, like rapper Kanye West. Or even just hip hop artist Kanye West, because his fashion stuff, he's totally broken through fashion in a way that is amazing. He's had meetings with the heads of Louis Vuitton and Gucci and and he knows his stuff. And what's fascinating about it is that fashion industry is incredibly white, and he talks about it a lot. There's a lot going on in the fashion industry as far as racism goes, and Kanye's just been unafraid to just be himself and to make clothes and to just break down those barriers. I know his collaborator, someone that worked under him, I can't think of his name right now, but he just got hired as the head of menswear of Louis Vuitton.
Wow.
And that was Kanye brought him up, and now this guy, an African American guy, is the head of Louis Vuitton. Which 10 years ago, if you would have said that, I think people would be shocked.
Who's the guy that did the Nike Off-Whites? Virgil.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Is that him? Yeah, so that's him. Yeah, I was gonna say he's up there now, and I was thinking the exact same thing. Literally, maybe not even 10, 5 years ago now. What? So that would be 2013.
Yeah.
That's unheard. That's unheard of. It's completely. And 5 years ago, we're still the plus size models are still. There were no such thing as plus size models either. We've come such a long way with that. But I think they would have been more accepting of that than they were a black guy
Yeah.
leading
Yeah.
Louis freaking Vuitton.
Uh-huh.
You know, so
Yeah, it's been crazy, and his designs, Kanye's, like the Yeezy shoes, like, and even just Kanye's overall fashion sense, like, to me, current fashion is massively impacted by Kanye. Like, I mean, just he totally. I don't know. It's cool. Let's see what else we're gonna talk about here. What do you think is Kanye's cultural legacy right now? I mean, like, we've kind of been talking about it this whole time, but like, so music-wise, he established different sounds, made it cool to mess around. Like, he made a whole auto-tune R&B album, basically. The fashion industry, he was huge in that. What's Kanye's legacy?
Probably his music. I mean, one could argue that Yeezy probably isn't going to die very soon, but I think overall,
It's just about to be rated $1 billion. His company, Yeezy.
yeah. But I think overall it won't stand quite as strong as the other big fashion names, like Louis Vuitton.
Well, yeah, those are so established.
Right. And I think because Kanye is split, I think it's hard for him to keep something that wasn't the first thing that he focused on in the limelight after he's moved on.
I feel like it might be also that music is just a lot easier to have a deep personal connection with than
That's
just
true.
fashion. Maybe. What do you think, Connor? Any thoughts?
yeah, I think definitely the fashion game as far as Kanye is concerned. I think it'll be massive. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm pretty.
it already is.
I mean, it's
massive.
already massive. I mean, as far as shoe sales, the guy has more people going out and buying his shoes than Jordan's. Which, I mean, again, I don't think I need to remind anyone, the significance of Michael Jordan shoes, and I personally think it's a little bit insane, the craziness, and like almost like the riots even that ensue over Jordan shoes.
Yes.
I mean, you guys know me. You guys have known me for a while. Like, I have what seems to almost be like 1 billion different pairs of shoes, and I break out a new one seeming like every other week, or anytime I go home for a week and I come back, I'm like, you got another new pair? But I'm never gonna shout like 250, 300 for some limited edition Space Jam Jordan Concords. Do I want them? Yes, obviously. Am I gonna do that? No. I mean, am I gonna pay for 400 for Yeezys? No. Do I want them? Yes. But you see so many people going for those more than Jordans. I mean, and for a long time, Michael Jordan was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the shoe god.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
to
he was
speak.
the first. Wasn't he like the first basketball player to break out and be like, I'm going to start a shoe
I
line
believe
that
so.
I
Yeah,
own."
he even had a shoe banned from the league at one point. And he's literally the shoe god as far as men's shoes, and Kanye West has dethroned him. But so I think fashion and everything, between him and his collaborations with all the different brands and everything, is huge. But again, I think his legacy, as far as if we're talking right now, anything Kanye touches, I don't necessarily want to say it's gold, but anything that he wants to do, he has that game at his fingertips at that point.
Uh-huh.
For whatever reason, whether it's the credit, whether it's the everything that has happened, the acclamation that he's received throughout the past few years, whether it's all the sideshow stuff, whether it's all of that, whether it's just the name, whatever it is, whatever Kanye wants to do, no one's going to tell him no. That's where I think we're at right now as far as his cultural legacy.
Yeah.
If he wants to get into fashion, which he has, he's in it.
Uh-huh.
He'll be successful. Music, let's not beat a dead horse. We already know he's one of the greatest producers, rappers, insert whatever you want here of all time. That's without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
I think he's already etched his name in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if we're being completely honest.
He really is a
When do
rock
you-
star.
When do you think that's going to change? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When do you think that's going to change from being called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to something else?
You're right.
I think
Because they have what? They have like Run DMC.
Run DMC was one of the more recent ones.
Is
Yeah.
NWA in the Rock and Roll?
NWA, I think, just got nominated. I'm not sure. I want to say the Beastie Boys got nominated as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Or they're in as well. But I don't know. I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will always be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I just think that I don't think it's just going to be tailored to just rock artists because the lines have blurred so much. The lines have blurred so much. I mean, I'm going to use again. I know I used them, during the little opener earlier, but only in passing. But Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, he's openly come out and said that his style is a mix of rap and that alternative rock, almost like that hardcore edge, that Marilyn Manson,
Yeah, he loves Marilyn Manson.
Right.
He loves the pop punk.
So
music.
many artists, so many rappers have infused different, rock elements, So I think if you have a contribution to that, I think, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should still be as is, but I mean, they're not just gonna open up the gates and be like, "Yep, okay, we're gonna take Jay-Z, we're gonna take Nas, we're gonna take T.I. Is Outkast available? Yeah, let's go take them." No, that's never gonna happen.
It'd be interesting to see how it changes because if you take rock and roll as a definition of just cutting edge,
right,
it opens it up to so many people, and I think for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to survive, it should do that, unless its end goal is to just create a time capsule of like, this was rock and roll, but that's going to die out soon. It's already dying out. I mean, hip hop is the mainstream culture right now.
Yeah.
I think that's undeniable.
Yeah.
It's overtaken rock.
I mean, country is even dived in. I mean, Florida Georgia Line, anybody?
Yeah.
Tim McGraw and Nelly years ago. I mean,
remember that?
Yeah. I mean, some of Sam Hunt's songs, kind of sound like they could be like popish, rapish. Body like a back road kind of gives you kind of like, okay, it has that track in the back. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, something you don't hear. I mean, that's the same track they probably use in 2 on by Tinashe. So I mean, yeah, I think rap is the mainstream thing because there's hints of it in literally everything. And even when metal and pop punk bands cover rap songs more fervently, I mean, granted, it helps that certain songs, are more tailored to it. EXO Tour Life, most of the songs that could go on Pop Goes Punk. Heartless by Kanye. When I can't remember what band it was. I want to say The Word Alive, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But some songs can easily be transitioned to a different genre. You don't get that if your genre isn't mainstream. No one cares if your genre about that song if it's not mainstream. So yeah.
So let's transition to Kanye today. What's going on recently? And what you were saying just a little while ago with like Kanye, he's just the guy that like no one can say no to. Like he doesn't take no for an answer. Now I showed Max a little bit of his most recent interview with Charlemagne. I know you haven't watched it yet. I'm sure you'll probably watch it soon.
I saved that, and then I saved the thing where apparently he stormed into TMZ's office today.
Yeah, the TMZ thing is weird, and we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah, it's him getting back on some stuff.
But in the Charlemagne interview, Charlemagne does push him a few times on the Trump thing. And what I like about the Charlemagne interview as opposed to the TMZ thing is the TMZ thing is a 3-minute long clip that's been edited quite a bit. And who knows what Kanye's... I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He could be just saying crazy stuff. But in this 2-hour-long interview, it's like... It's pretty cool. Like, because you get to see Kanye in the full context. And Charlemagne's a great interviewer. And when Charlemagne pushed Kanye on this Trump stuff, it seems like to me that, Kanye literally said it. He was like, what I would like is maybe like a Trump-style campaign with Bernie Sanders values.
Yeah, he did say that. That was
like, yeah. For Kanye, it seems to be that his attraction to Trump really isn't political. And in fact, the more Kanye tweets, the more it seems that Kanye doesn't really have that big of like an academic background in politics. He's just I think he said, I can't quote him exactly, but Trump showed that it was possible that literally anyone could be president.
Yeah.
Like he brought up the fact, remember, was it the VMAs where Kanye went on that like 20-minute speech where he said,
I will run for president in 2020. Yeah.
He said, after that, people like memed him about it.
Yeah, close friends and family.
Yeah, they were like, no, you're not going to be president. And Kanye thought like after seeing Trump do it and win, people are now like, oh, Kanye could actually be president if he wanted to be. So in that aspect, I get what he's trying to say, but it's like impossible to unpack Trump from fully being Trump, and I think that's what Kanye doesn't get.
Yeah, Charlemagne also like prompted him with a little bit of a thing regarding Trump's views on immigration, and Kanye was like silent for a solid 30 seconds, just trying to formulate an answer where it was like.
Interesting thing about that, it's cool and different because it was like an unedited thing to see Kanye just like stop and think for 30 seconds, because you don't see that Kanye a lot.
No, you don't.
No.
And honestly, during this whole interview, Kanye seems like he's actually in like a pretty good mental space.
Yeah, that interview he was definitely doing really well.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that this was probably the first time where publicly people are just like, Kanye looks okay. Like,
Yeah, like
he's not.
Yeah.
She's not shooting from the hip. He looks okay. So
Anyway, sorry.
in case you're wondering, Tupac and NWA are both in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
okay.
Those are
Interesting thing in the
most recent
interview,
ones.
there was, I think, 3 different hip hop artists other than Jay-Z, because he went into the whole Jay-Z beef thing, which is interesting. But Kanye shouted out Kendrick Lamar for the last song in To Pimp a Butterfly with that whole Tupac verse, which is cool. I bet Kendrick's pretty happy with himself. But then talking about this whole like new rock star thing, he also shouted out Travis Scott and Lil Uzi Vert during the interview, saying like these guys are like the modern rock stars. And it was part of a bigger conversation where Kanye was talking about how artists are not truly allowed to be business people a lot of the time by their record labels.
Right.
And Kanye's totally worked to break that down. Like Kanye owns his brand.
Yeah.
Like Kanye's not just an artist on a label.
Yeah.
Kanye's Kanye. And I like that. There's a certain, I think, punk rock ethos to that, a do-it-yourself thing that I like, that I think's really cool.
And I think that's what makes Kanye West, if you really think about it, that's what makes Kanye almost the ultimate rock star.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, some of the pieces that he put out, some of the sounds that he put out, just music alone, just like, oh, whoa, all right, this breaks norm from regular rap.
Uh-huh.
You know, again, 808s and heartbreaks. Everyone's
both
kind of
spectrums.
right,
808s
like,
and heartbreaks.
right.
It was chill.
exactly. You know, and everyone's just like, okay, you know, we're still, you know, we just got off, you know, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye, you know, and then this comes out, and then the way that he just carries himself outside the studio and everything like that, he does things. He does what Kanye wants for Kanye.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more rock, more, I guess, punk than that in general. Like, you're literally doing things. It's the status quo, you know? Like, you're going against the status quo. You know, Kanye, you know, for all this time, was like, okay, yeah, you know, Graduation, those first 3 albums, greatest 3 albums of all time, probably. You know, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, my personal favorite Kanye West album of all time. 808s and Heartbreak, some of his other pieces, you know, subject to everyone's opinion. But I mean, you have to have some real onions on you if you're really ready to, you know, to like go against the grain like that.
Yeah, people hated 808s
Right.
and heartbreaks.
And not only do you do that in the studio, but you stick to your guns in the studio, and then you're just going against the grain outside the studio and everything. And that's why I think Kanye, he paved the way for these guys, you know? You know, I don't think there would be a Lil Uzi Vert without a Kanye,
No.
you know? I don't think there would be a lot of Lil anything, you know, and
True.
a lot of these guys without Kanye. Why? Because he showed that if you do things your way, if you're creative enough and you do things your way, you stick to your creative vision, someone out there is going to rock with it regardless. It doesn't need to be the status quo. Because if it was the status quo, music would be boring.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so boring. That's when the argument was like, oh, well, all rap sounds the same. Well, yes, because it literally does, because we're all following the same cadences, the same everything. We needed a Kanye West to be unique, to break the mold of what, not a rapper, but what an artist should be, which is taking those chances, you know, and sticking to your guns. Now, I mean, granted, are some of the extremes that he took a little extreme? Yes. But give me one rock star that didn't go to an extreme, and name me one where that didn't work out in his favor in some form or fashion. It's kind of hard.
I think that's one of the coolest things about Kanye is that it's not necessarily that he created a popular sound, although he did.
He did.
The bigger impact is that he made it cool for you to create your own popular sound and be unafraid about it.
Question for you, rather for you guys actually. All these like different sub-genres of rap, like mumble rap, bubblegum trap, all this stuff. If Kanye didn't go experimental with everything like that, would these of those subcategories still exist? And if they would still exist, how much different would it be?
I would say that they would, but mostly because while Kanye is a huge figure, there are also other big figures that were in the picture while all of this was developing. I mean, there's Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, yep.
And he was crazy influential with what he did too, which is
can't forget about Nas
Dre.
either.
Yeah,
Dre.
Yeah,
Jay
so
Dilla.
there's a lot of other people that were in the music game. Not as many people that were willing to straight up say, "Hey, I want to change it." I would say that's where Kanye sticks out from the other ones. The other ones they were changing things, but they weren't publicly saying, "I want it to change even further." Kanye's always been like, I like change and I want it to keep changing. And I think that was a really good part of his interview is he went further in depth saying that's one of the things he liked about Trump is that he proved that change is possible. People would have never voted for like a regular public figure like that, except Trump made the campaign that he did and they did it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of him.
No,
but
I don't think anyone in this room is.
Right, but that is something that Kanye pointed out about him that he did very well, and obviously he did it well because he's president now, which is a thing. But we can unpack that some other time.
But yeah, no, I mean he's right that you can't deny that Trump is a break from the tradition. In some ways, he is the tradition. I mean, he's an older white guy who's very wealthy. There's nothing about that was different. But the way that he did it, I think you can say
the fact that he wasn't
different.
a politician even a little bit.
And I can see how Kanye has his opinion that Trump is important in showing that anyone can do it, even if it's in the worst possible way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the whole Trump thing, I think maybe, from what I'm gathering, from what Kanye said about the whole thing, it's whatever strategy Trump used, whether it was playing on fears, whether it was saying exactly what everyone wanted to hear, whether it was just erasing the term politically correct. He's like, you know what? Screw this.
Yeah.
This is why you should vote for me. Forget all this. Like
all this stuff we can't say on air.
Right. Yeah, forget all these numbers crap, forget all about this, that, the other. This is what I'm about to do, and this is why I'm about to do it. Like Trump went about it in a way, like I said, I've made it no secret. I mean, I've kind of made it a secret on social media and everything because, I keep I try to keep my political beliefs off of the internet unless something involving them or involving me gets called into question where it involves political standing. That's when I jump in. Mm-hmm. But, anyone who talks to me knows how I operate, knows the things that I've gone through, knows there's no way in any alternate universe I am voting Trump.
No.
There could be 12 million alternate universes out there, and not a one version of me is voting that man.
Yeah.
And if people hear this when I share it or whatever, and they're just like, well, I hate this guy's like, oh, well, whatever. Ain't the first time, ain't the last time. But
how are we feeling about these wind chimes, boys?
Peaceful.
Put on some of the. Let's get that samba music, bed.
That one I got to be careful about. We got a strike.
What about the Napoleon Dynamite?
That we can do.
Okay.
All right, that's cool. But yeah, I think the thing that. Oh, Jamiroquai. Yes.
The one I can play. I can play that other one, but we just got to make sure we're talking over it the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that I think Kanye sees in Trump is the fact that he was unapologetic in his approach. And I think we tend to, I think in general, whether it's anything, whether it's a musician, whether it's a politician, whether it's an athlete, there's been several, athletes and everything. I think that's why a lot of people gravitated towards Conor McGregor, from an athletic point of view. He was purely just unapologetic. He did not give a bleep.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, nowadays we tend to, the older generation is like, oh no, but nowadays we tend to gravitate towards those people who are just like, wait, whoa, he said what? What did he say? And then we're going to follow him more. We're going to follow him more. And we're still going to be hanging on to their every word. And so I think the fact that Kanye, I think that's what I think he's looking at. The fact that Trump was so unapologetic about what he was doing and everything. That gravitated more people in, and he was essentially a break from the establishment. Like you said, like from an on paper point of view, white guy, check. A lot of money, check.
Yep.
A bunch of had a long list of inheritance and everything, check. Boom, give it to him.
Yeah.
Everything else is just like no. But you look at the way Trump realistically ran that campaign against the people in the Republican primary, and and then the eventual presidential primary campaign against Hillary Clinton. What was the one thing that separated him from everyone else? Everyone else, if you think about it, you heard the same spiel for as long as all of us have lived. Yep. In some form or fashion, you heard that same thing that every politician has said from whatever aisle. At some point, you heard the same thing. What did Trump do? Burned it to the ground. He burned it to the ground and said, screw it. We're doing it my way.
It's probably not the first thing he'll burn to the ground.
I had a comment, but I'm going to save it.
I
had a comment, but I'm not going to say it.
I didn't say anything.
So I don't know. I think Kanye's also been a very unapologetic person.
Yeah, no,
he's not willing. He's not afraid to go to extreme lengths to do something.
Yeah, that's the thing about it that, like, when I think about it, at first I was like, oh my God, Kanye, what are you doing? And then I thought about it more and I'm like, this is not surprising in any way. Why are we surprised? This is the most Kanye thing to do.
Basically.
Is Kanye wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
The thing that, I guess, for me, the thing that just sums it all up for me, as the similarity that both of these two have is that by hook or by crook, they're getting whatever they want at some point. Kanye was the same with the music industry, with the fashion industry, with the whatever he wants to do industry. Trump was the same thing with his business enterprises, with anything where he got all his money, Trump Tower, Trump anything, and now obviously the White House. Both of them went after it by hook or by crook and were completely unapologetic. And we tend to look at and gravitate more towards people who break from the norm.
Yeah.
We question them at first, but there's a reason why they did it. Why did they do it? And then we follow them. And then we're on that ride with them. And so I think that's where these two, like you said, like at first I was just like, Kanye, what are you doing? Like I was like, I don't want to hate you. Like I really don't want to hate you, but don't make me hate you. And now, like you, when I was thinking about it today, I was just sitting around in my room when you told me about the topics and everything, and you showed me the outline. I was just like, you know what? Different paths, but some things are a direct parallel, these two, which in hindsight doesn't make me surprised at all. I'd rather not see one of my favorite rappers of all time in a Make America Great Again hat, but I mean, I can see why. Because if any of them would do it, it's Kanye. If anyone would do it, it's him. And I think, again, the unapologetic aspect of it, I think that's what we've grown to. Some people have grown to love it about Kanye and Trump. Some people have loved to hate it about Kanye and Trump. Both are polarizing in their own way. And polarizing figures tend to get attention from other polarizing figures.
Yep.
So this is just another case when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of wrap it up. I know I'm excited to see where it goes. I know there's John Legend and Kanye are texting each other.
Kind of beefing,
posting all the texts everywhere. But like, Kanye seems like he's in a place where like he wants to learn and figure stuff out. And I'm excited to see that whole process happen. It's interesting. I mean, if his whole idea was to just create controversy and conflict of ideas and test people. He's certainly done that, and I think there's a. I mean, I wish he would have gone around it a different way, but it's certainly opened up discussions that are interesting and I think important. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. The album's coming out in not too long. Then he's doing the collaborative album with Cudi.
And he's produced so many other ones that are coming out.
A
in
Nas
June.
album?
Tiana Taylor, I believe is coming out with one. Or Tiana Taylor, I'm sorry. But yeah, June's just a month of music with so many different... Drake's album.
Brockhampton. Just announced they're going to be dropping in June.
So basically, I'm just standing around my every music app I have on my phone for all of June. So,
what are your last 2 cents on the Kanye thing? What do you think? Where do you think it's going?
I don't
as we wrap it up.
I don't have any cash on me. No, I think Kanye has done a lot of good things and a lot of weird things. And I think that's exactly what he wants to do. So I think for that standpoint, he's definitely doing what he needs to do. Also, if you were interested in any of this, there's that interview. And I mean, I'm not allowed to say that you should check it out, but I mean, I did. And I'm not even the biggest Kanye fan. That's all I'm going to say about it because I'm not allowed to tell you to go check it out because that's something that we can't do.
I'm not allowed to say
go check it out. But you know,
it's cool. It's really well shot too. If you're like,
oh my,
I saw
beautifully
saw
shot.
some of the stills and everything. I was just like, whoever shot this is a master behind that camera.
Goodness. I was talking to
Honestly.
Kyle, the opening shots. There are a few opening shots of like just stills from inside one of his probably like 10 houses. But it's just like all white everything and just beautiful shots that are ridiculous. And Kyle pointed out that there's like hardly any furniture, but
it's like super minimalist, but it's kind of cool.
It's
It'd
very
be weird
cool
to live in, but it's very Kanye.
but like I said, you know, it's probably the house that he just does interviews in. he's got the money to have a house for that.
Okay, so we're gonna switch gears completely now, and we're
And
gonna
play
talk
music.
about. Oh, do you want to play? We can play. Let's play just a few songs.
Let's
and
play
we
some
can-
music so that we can actually show Connor that video from the TMZ thing and have him talk a little bit about what he thinks about
Oh, sure, we can do that.
Kanye's
before we
comments
move
on
Yeah,
that.
I'm down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
before we completely wrap up on the Kanye thing. Because that's
Sure, we can talk. Because I mean,
that's going to be a
happening right
big
now.
controversy that comes up in the
Boy,
following week.
It's wild. Okay, we'll just play some of the top Kanye hits. Hope you enjoy it. It's 91.7 The Edge. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Oh yeah, 91.7 WSUW Whitewater.
Nice.
Hear that, FCC? We're cool.
Yeah, we
91.7
definitely
The Edge.
didn't tell people to go look at something. Definitely did not say
Definitely,
that.
we're not breaking any rules right now. It's 91.7 The Edge. We'll see you a bit later. Okay. It should be playing. You got that turned off?
Nope.
Oh boy, we got a lot going on here.
It's not.
Oh,
it's not getting
because
anything.
it's not playing.
Oh.
It should be.
There we go. Hey, we're back. It's 91.7 The Edge. We watched the TMZ clip. It is there. Apparently, the full interview is out, so it'd be interesting to see it in more context. But what's the take? Kanye, did he really say that 400 years of slavery was a choice? Did he mean that? Is it being taken out of context? Is Kanye just? I don't know. What's going on? Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of just saw. You guys saw my reaction right away.
Yeah.
The only words I could say for a solid 3 minutes was just wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I think for me. I guess I'll start with. I guess how I personally feel about. I guess the idea. Not so much that just Kanye said it in general, but I think I'll just start with just the idea that slavery is a choice. If slavery, was a choice, and contrary to what Kanye said in the video, I mean, it was more than just, blacks being enslaved by whites. I mean, you go back into the history of like ancient Rome and things like that. We're going back. like we are going way back. But if slavery was a choice, I mean, you don't think that those enslaved thought about rebellion. You don't think that they thought about an uprising. You don't think that they thought about any of that. But when you think about that, you also don't think that they realized the dire consequences. You know, like, yeah, people might have thought about doing it and potentially becoming a martyr, but the end consequences and the end, the consequences in the end game would be much more catastrophic for those who are still around
Yeah.
if something were to happen. So, I mean, there's a reason why slavery went 400 years, and I don't think that was by choice. The only choice
Wow.
that was
hot take there.
Whoa.
Connor.
the only choice that was made was those who were doing the enslaving
Exactly.
choosing that their lives or their way of living
Yeah.
was whether it was someone who got some false divine thought that they were better than the others, whether it was social Darwinism, whether it was
Yeah.
whatever. That was the only choice made. I don't think the enslaved choose to be enslaved.
Yeah, no,
And-
the only choices that you could argue that they were making were by not revolting, staying alive.
Right. And if
Right.
Completely
exactly.
understandable.
Exactly, and so I mean if we get to the whole Kanye thing, as a fan of his, as a young black male, as someone who's gone through some crap, man, because of which, as recent as
Yeah,
this
yeah.
past
I saw
weekend,
your post.
as recent as this past weekend,
Mhm.
Like my first reaction was like, dude, what the hell? Honestly, I mean, and the biggest thing that, we even saw, like one of the guys in the newsroom said it, was another black guy, who's one, when I watch TMZ, he's one of my favorite ones in the newsroom. But he said it best, at the end of the video, like he has too big of a voice to be saying things like this. I mean, yeah, we know what you get with Kanye West. I mean, we ran down everything before we played music. He's a genius. Whatever he wants to do, he can do. No one can really tell him no because he won't take no for an answer. The caveat being he goes so far with certain extremes. It's at some point like I said, everyone's jaw is hitting the floor at some point. So I mean, what comes with Kanye when he gets on these rants.
Yeah.
But eventually, like this is one of the points where I don't even think the jaw like hits the ground. This is just one of those things where you just shake your head and you're just like, there's no bleeping way you just said that.
Yeah, no.
Like there's no way. And he does have too big of a voice. There's so many people that look up to him. There's whether it's rappers, people, regardless, people who listen to his music to like get them through everyday life and stuff. Black, white, whatever, who might feel, for lack of better terms, enslaved by whatever is going on in their lives, especially if you're in the black community, then, there's still so many systematic things that go on, that happen towards us.
Yeah.
So when you say something like that, and we're already in such a tumultuous time where shades of back then, or just even little hints of back then, continue to trickle in to present day in 2018, and you say things like that, that's not helping your case at all. That's hurting a lot of people. And yeah, he's free to think whatever he wants. He's free to use whatever medias or whatever platforms he has rightfully earned. He has rightfully earned whatever platform he wants to use it on to speak his mind. But the one thing that I don't think Kanye realizes here, and if he does realize it, he just doesn't care, is that freedom of speech and his, how he was going on saying like having a free mind and we're told to think a certain way, and he feels that he's completely free of everyone's mental chains and he can think and say whatever he wants. That doesn't leave you free of consequence.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that everyone who opens their mouth and says something, whether it's racial, whether it's controversial, whether it's anything, I think that's what they don't realize. That freedom, yeah, you're able to say it, and you might have just said it. That does not make you exempt for any and all consequence that follows. And I'm afraid that with what he just said, there's going to be dire consequences with this.
Yeah, to me it sounds like Kanye went to like Logic 101 class, and now he's like telling everyone to like get out of your mental prison.
Right.
And that seems to be what the point he was trying to make. He just seemed to try and make a metaphor or phrase it in the worst way possible. And like what you're saying, to me, you're right. Free speech, you can say whatever you want, but there's backlash.
Especially when you have 28 million people that follow you on Twitter alone.
Yeah. But
Right.
to me, being a someone that's like a free thinker or someone that has escaped the what Kanye would call it, the mental prison, it's not just feeling free to think, but you need to be free to learn. I think that's where true power comes, when you are in a mindset that you're just ready to learn from everything and to accept your own ignorance and to try and improve that. And it sounds to me like Kanye is coming more of a place that like, well, that's not true. In the interview, he says multiple times that he doesn't have the answers, but sometimes it seems like Kanye's too quick to make his hot take and not open enough to admit ignorance.
Because I think he's too caught up that he's free to do so. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I think that's the pitfall of this whole free thinker thing, is that you can fall into this thing where it's like, oh, I'm just thinking freely, but you're not learning freely.
Right.
Which I think is far more important. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, me personally, I've had enough Kanye. Especially after watching that, I think I've had enough of Kanye for a little bit.
Yeah. Let's shift up to our next
Pivot.
topic here. We're going to talk, since we have UW Whitewater Sports Media extraordinaire on air.
I was going to say, do not use the word celebrity.
I want to talk about how sports and music interact. We've talked a lot about how different music interacted, how music's been changing recently, streaming, different medias. I'm really interested to know, how has sports impacted the way that we consume media? And the first thing that I think of, and I know that you'll have a lot to say about this, Connor, because a lot of the time we'll be hearing a song and you'll be like, man, this makes me think of the FIFA whatever.
Insert video game soundtrack here.
Yeah.
How important have video game soundtracks been in your own musical life? Like, I mean, the Madden soundtracks, the FIFA soundtracks,
Oh my.
2K.
I can give you a perfect example. I can give you a very perfect example. This year, actually, in this year's FIFA installment, FIFA 18. And I don't mean to bring up FIFA so much, but I mean, this is just like the perfect example. There's a song on there called Drown by Kovic. I never heard it before. Never heard of this artist before. But I was going through a good amount of stuff mentally, and then that song came on. I weeped. Like, I'm playing a game, and I'm sobbing. Like, literally, I'm still, like, sobbing. Like, I'm literally in the middle of a game, and I'm like, tears are still flowing down my eyes, So, I mean, not just that, but yeah, like, so many songs, I'll be playing a game, and I'm trying to, like, forget about certain things, or I'm just trying to have fun. And I'll hear a song that'll make me feel really good. It'll make me feel something that's like, wow, this is exactly what I needed to hear. Songs that I'm just like, this is a song in the summer for me. Like sports soundtrack, songs that are on sports soundtracks, they've meant a lot to me because, I mean, it's expanded the music that I've listened to, So many different artists and bands and things like that, that I don't think I would have ever heard from had it not been for a FIFA or Madden or MLB The Show or NBA Live or even some other sports games, So, I mean, it expands you've seen my playlist. It is a cluster of a lot. It is, you want to talk about a melting pot, look at my playlist is literally a melting pot of virtually every genre you could think of. And a lot of that has to do with just the way I was just brought up. My whole mantra for me personally was, if it sounds good, I like it, I'm downloading it.
Yeah.
But a lot of video game soundtracks, I mean, there's a few songs, like have meant a lot to me because it's helped me get through some things, or it's helped me find an added bit of motivation, and I think that's the beauty of music, whether it's coming from a sports video game, whether it's a movie score, whether it's anything like that. But if we're talking about sports video games, yeah, I mean, there's so many songs that are downloaded on here that I've downloaded from games that I've forgot that I owned and played, or games that I own now, and I'm listening to these songs. I'm just like, wow, still to this day, like I listen to that song, you're like, I messaged the guy on Facebook, Kovic on Facebook, and he responded to me, and
nice.
I geeked so hard. I was just like, hey man, this is the best song on FIFA 18. I love it. But not only do I love it because it's a great sounding song, this song got me through a lot. And anytime I go through a situation similar, that is one of the first songs that pops up on my playlist. Or the first one I'm looking for. Right, I was like, I need to find it. 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 And then you don't get caught up on that one song. You find so many other songs. There's like, he or she's really, really, really good. I never would have heard Tash Sultana without FIFA 18. Actually, I fell in love with the song Jungle, and now I listen to her entire catalog. Love it. So
I think that's the coolest legacy of all these video game soundtracks, is that they are a melting pot of different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in 2018, if you're not listening to multiple genres, what are you doing, dude? Today, I was on Max did for Video One. He did the whole TV show day where they have to bring in someone. And I was the guest, and I said this, and I totally stand by it, and I believe it with my whole heart. Right now, we are in the most exciting time for music that there's ever been.
I agree.
It's easier than ever to listen to the entire catalog of all music that's ever existed. And because of that, I think people are creating music that is fresh and cutting edge and unique, and that blends things in ways that haven't been done before. And people are more accepting of that, I think, than ever, which I think is great. And maybe in hearing you talk about this, maybe our generation growing up playing Madden and all these games, maybe hearing this melting pot of different genres was part of that.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see. What's your take, Max? You haven't talked yet.
I was about to just play a song and see if you guys know what game it comes from.
Yeah, I'm down.
It's not this one. Here we go.
Oh, this is okay. This is on a few.
Franz Ferdinand.
That was on. Oh, this
You're
was
not
on.
wrong.
This was on a lot of video games when the song came out. Was this on Madden 05?
It was.
I remember Madden. Yeah, I remember Madden 05.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
When that song came out, it was on so many soundtracks. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure.
also on NHL.
Yep.
2005.
But I remember, I think that was one of the first songs I heard when I played Madden 05 at a friend's house, because I didn't own it.
Yeah.
I always played it, and I didn't play it. I always played it at my friend's house. And I remember I heard that, and then I lost my mind because American Idiot was on the same soundtrack. And I geeked because American Idiot is one of my all-time favorite albums, just music in general of all time. So when I heard it on that game, I was just like, what? So yeah, I mean, and another instance of sports video games, and sticking with Green Day, Holiday. The song "Holiday" was on a Tony Hawk's, I believe, American Wasteland.
I
Hawk
love
games.
Tony Hawk
Wow.
soundtracks.
Tony Hawk soundtracks are whoever is in that department and takes the time to comb through those songs needs any
They need a raise.
any prize they're eligible for, anything. They just find a way to get some amazing songs across the board, honestly.
Yeah, they perfectly encapsulate the whole Warp Tour, I feel culture in those video games, and it's perfect because it's that scene.
Yeah, so I mean, it's games that aren't just a typical baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey. It's other games too. Snowboarding, skateboarding. There's so many other sports. That have these amazing soundtracks and have songs that just they encapsulate the moment. They fit it so well, that sport. And then it's just songs that you can listen to whether you're doing certain things or whether you're not. There's a Shakira song on NBA 2K18, Chantaje, and I just have a natural bias towards Latin music because of my family's roots. But I listen to that song everywhere. when it was still warm out when I bought NBA 2K18, during the fall of this past semester, when the weather was nice, I'm walking around just bumping that song. Like this is I'm walking to class borderline sambaing, like these it. I don't know. It just it expands the catalog for me. It just expands my forever expanding thing. But I think the biggest thing for music and sports, the song that has probably meant the most to me in recent memory, and there's probably been a few, but the one that sticks out right away is that song "Drown." And I mean, I kind of hope I hope at some point maybe you guys can like throw this in, like just playing in like slightly playing in the background while I'm talking.
Yeah.
When you guys edit this, so I mean, because I feel like everyone has to hear that song. I mean, you hear it's perfect. There's something about the song where it's just I was going through stuff, but now even when I wasn't, I heard the song. I was like, this song is so good.
I'll need to check it out.
So no, it's amazing, honestly.
Cool. Got anything else to say? I was thinking of trying to talk about how music interacts in like the live event, like when the sport is actually going on.
It makes it 10 times better.
Yeah, I know, right? It's really interesting, and just the kind of music and music choices, like baseball games. You've got like all the like organ like stuff. I've only really ever actually been to baseball games, so I can't really speak about anything else.
No, I think it's
Go Pack Go.
Yeah.
The chants.
There's literally a song. I mean, they have like a little beat to it.
European football clubs.
They make chants based off of songs. Yeah.
Like the whole stadium. It's. I would love to go to one of those huge European stadiums and be able to hear those chants in person, because I can't imagine what it's like. What are you doing?
Is this with Tony Hawk?
And is this Real Big Fish? Oh, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones?
This isn't Real Big Fish?
Goldfinger.
You know what? I think they were a staple in Tony Hawk games for a while, honestly.
Dang.
Good times. Good. That's another thing why I like about them so much. They're nostalgic. Like, you hear a song, and you're just like, I remember that on insert game here.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It's the best
You
feeling.
just go, I know that song. Where was it from?
And then
yes.
Exactly.
Doesn't it just take you exactly back to like being that age and
Yeah.
in that room, wherever
You play any
TV
song off
was?
of Madden 2007, I go right back to my basement holding a Wii remote because I played it on the Wii.
You play me any song from, I believe it was SmackDown versus Raw 2009, and you want to see peak alternative rock me, you're getting him at that point. Like, that was some great times. Yeah, but no, I agree. Like, you hear a certain song from a game, it's throwing me right back. I heard a song. I was in here in the song, the Bastille song, "Send Them Off." It was on last year's FIFA game, but so it threw me right back. I just remember sitting in my room, last year, and I would just come back. I'm just after a stressful day, and I'm just jamming. Like I'm playing the game, but I'm like belting Bastille.
Yeah,
and I think that's the best part of me. Like, I'll be playing these video games, and I'm just going ham. Like, if I'm playing on NBA Live NBA Live 18, they have a Kyle song in there. You guys know how much I love the rapper Kyle. The song "Want Me Bad" is on there. When that song came on, I was jamming. Rolex is on that song. I just love the song Rolex. So when I'm literally playing the game like dancing and everything. Like I'm almost embarrassing playing a game where I know a song's on. And then if I don't feel like listening to any of the soundtrack songs, I just throw on Spotify. I can snap both together.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's.
Hey, this just made me think of one last topic, and then we can wrap things up. I was recently just talking about the whole hearing a song and just being transported instantly somewhere.
Yeah. I
was just talking to my friend MK Drana. Shout out one time, the only time. You will never get shouted out again. I'm just kidding. It's just so crazy how like there's these certain albums or songs or that you just hear them and the nostalgia just like hits you. Like for me, it's Because the Internet by Childish Gambino. It takes me instantly to my first semester freshman year of college. And I think partially why it's so vivid is because that first semester of college, I mean, like, that was transformative.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that was such a massive point in my life. transitioning from high school to college, and then that album was the soundtrack to it. And so now whenever I hear anything from that, it's just like, oh wow, boom! It takes me right back there. Do you have what's a song or album for you that does that, and to what point in your life does it?
Oh, I forget the name of the album. I'll find it real quick. Connor, you got one?
Oh yeah, I have quite a few, honestly.
Mine all involve video games.
Do they? Mine's don't involve video games actually. So right away, the first ones is the Drake's first debut album, "Thank Me Later." You know, the first thing I think of is the song "Show Me a Good Time" on that album is one of my favorite all-time songs, and I think right away that song came out in the summer between 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And I remember I was in Wisconsin Dells for the baseball trip, and that album had just came out a week before we left, which was perfect timing for me because I had the soundtrack to my summer, and the trip. I listened to the album probably 30 times that trip alone. But I remember driving down, Wisconsin Dells, the lights and everything. You're a middle schooler / young high schooler. The Wisconsin Dells is like your Vegas.
Yeah, so right. Oh man,
and
dude, I'm gonna get so many kitty cocktails. It's gonna be great.
Look at that chick over in the water park.
Oh, she goes on the big slide.
I remember sitting in my car, in the back of my parents' car, I'm listening to the song "Show Me a Good Time" by Drake, and that takes me back. I instantly get transported back to the Dells, and that happens because like, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
You talk about your freshman year of being here. My freshman year here, Kyle's "Beautiful Loser" album came out, and that came on when my roommate at the time he randomly played something on Pandora, and then that song came on, a song from that album came on. I was like, yo, this song's hot. Let's check out this album. And then he liked it, but I loved it. And, that became like the soundtrack to essentially my freshman year of just period, not just first semester. There's so many songs, honestly, I could probably, I'd have to actually probably sit around and actually think about them. But I get that the very first one that I think will immediately I will like vividly remember everything is "Show Me a Good Time" by Drake, and it just throws me right back to the Dells in that summer, because I had baseball that summer. I had that album that just came out from my favorite artists. I had Wisconsin Dells because again, the Wisconsin Dells, if you're below a certain age, was our Vegas.
Yeah.
It was an instant callback. So yeah.
Yeah, so I remembered a few. So the one that I remembered initially was a Go Radio album, Lucky Street, and it got to me at the same time that Skyrim did, and that's a problem because
Max is still playing Skyrim.
I'm still playing Skyrim
after 7 years.
Where's the shame?
True.
Yeah, I still play it, but like when it came out, I played it way more. And the whole time, I just listened to that album on repeat. So now anytime I hear that album, I just go, I need to go play Skyrim. I can't. And then the Venacera album from Chevelle reminds me immediately.
Okay, we're going to talk about this in depth next show.
Okay.
So we can give a teaser for it.
Yeah.
Max, back in 7th grade, probably 8th grade. It was because it was during Odyssey of the Mind, right? Or is it was like the year? It was Odyssey of the Mind, right? You had the blue phone.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like the exact same time period as your Drake song. Max had this blue cell phone.
Was it the Razor?
No.
Okay. Was it the Sidekick? You guys remember the Sidekicks?
Yeah. I don't remember
Was it
what
that?
it was. It had like this little flip thing on it, but it was just like a little plastic thing, and it fell off eventually.
Okay.
But he had like all of the like new metal type songs from that. So like Chevelle, Breaking Benjamin. A bunch of
3 Days Grace, 3 Days
Oh
Grace.
my goodness, my alternative hard.
And so I remember. I think the first song that just was played a billion times was "Jars," which isn't on Venacera.
No, it's
but
on.
That song. It was just like I vividly remember when I hear that song. You played it on your phone, and we were in the swings behind Country Meadows. Don't know why we were there.
Oh man!
But like. That was like the first time I heard that. And then from that point, whenever we hung out, like playing Halo 3 on Xbox 360,
Modern Warfare 2
Modern Warfare 2,
on Rust.
1v1 on Rust.
1v me on Rust, bro.
Yeah, that,
1v1 me on Rust.
that blue phone was in that room trying its hardest to crank out songs. And it's funny because that music just takes me right back. Did you have any with those the two? We're gonna go more into depth with the whole Benjamin
blue
Chevelle
phone.
thing.
We gotta get that.
I can't wait
Going.
to hear that.
But
there's a lot to
there's a lot
get into
to
there.
Those foundational.
Oh man, I'm trying to find.
Remember the first time that
I
I was ever playing Halo
probably get
3
triggered.
and you skipped all the cutscenes?
Oh my god, I loved
It was
that. That
quite
was my
possibly
favorite
the
time.
meanest thing you ever did. Because like in Halo 3, like at one moment it's you destroy the big alien cannon, and then the next
See, the problem
thing,
was
the
I had already
flood's
played
everywhere.
through it like
and I was like,
3
what's
or
the
4
flood?
times by then.
I was just so mad. Anyway,
It's your fault because
okay,
you haven't
yeah,
played
sure.
it.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Okay. I think that does it for this show. We talked about a lot. Talked about Kanye, sports, nostalgia. Not all one word. Kanye, sports, nostalgia. I don't even know what that would mean. But it's 91.7 The Edge. We're going to be logging off here. This has been Between the Songs / now that's what I call now. Weren't playing a lot of music today. We just went like full talk show, which is fun. I like doing it. We've gotten better at it.
What
And
makes you think that?
I don't know. It's maybe like if you do something over and over again, you get better at it. I'd like to thank one more time Connor Moore for being on the show today.
Shout
with
out one
us.
time. That's it. All
I
right.
think you're actually you're like our first guest that is invited onto our show, because we had a guest before, but we were invading their show. It was John and Sean. They're spinning it.
Yeah.
Live-a-thon. We
spinning
crashed.
it. It's not spinning it.
Spinning it.
No, well, thank you for having me on. I probably talked way too much.
No.
But no, thank you. It was a lot of fun. You know, I'm glad to be a part of it. You know, I can't. No, it was the moment you brought her up to me a couple weeks ago or last week. I was just like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I want to join so bad. You know. Like,
Yeah, and then the Kanye thing just came out, and I was like,
yeah,
oh my
that-
god, that's a perfect topic to talk about. Because like a few weeks ago, we were doing the Kanye bracket.
we were doing the Kanye bracket, and then of course with his you know, with everything that he said and everything that happened with me over the weekend, I'm just like, wow, the world wants me to talk about this.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah, thanks, Connor.
Thank
You can find him on Hawk Talk, which is every Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday,
At
yes,
5
at
o'clock?
5. I host Mondays and Wednesdays.
Also, Connor, you'll be able to catch him one day on ESPN, because I'm convinced he will be there one day. He's probably embarrassed that I'm saying this, but I don't care.
Yeah, because everyone says it and I'm embarrassed, so it's okay.
He's good. He's going to be on ESPN one day. I believe that with all my heart. Shout out, Connor. All your future endeavors.
Thank you. Best of luck to you guys as well. Thank you.
And yeah, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be getting into, we'll probably get the last few minutes of alternative music here. And then we'll be getting into Metal at Midnight. So I hope you enjoy it.
Ooh.
You want to see what's playing?
Quick shout out.
Oh,
So
another
we
shout
used
out.
to have a show called Punk Ain't Dead. Well, it ain't. Sounds
Yeah,
like next
right as I'm
next
graduating
year. Next
and
year
leaving,
they're going to
they're putting
start
punk in the radio.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And, you know, you can claim it was a legacy thing for you
Yeah,
and
I
Amy.
can. Yeah. You wanna? What's playing right now?
You know.
Hockey night,
Yeah.
and then what is that? C, but all capital. SEE. Actually,
yeah,
they're always all capital.
yeah.
Hey, there's an
No, it's
OK
not.
Go song coming up.
Yeah, a little later. But yeah, right now there's a song that's ending, and that's not really important to you. So, the song you're about to be listening to is Green Line Killer by C.
I hope you enjoy it. It's been 91.7 The Edge again.
Again?
Max, Kyle, Connor here on Between the Songs. We'll see you next week, Tuesday at 10. And wow, that was loud.
I love
You
that.
can catch us on YouTube. Look us up. And we'll see you again soon. I'm going to stop rambling. Just play the music, Max.